Is it tough that transition from being that guy? Because you're that guy. You're just transitioning to a different guy.
Yeah, it's tough not being that guy when you thought you were going to be the guy and you had an agreement to be the guy, but the guy you thought you were going to be is not the guy who you are. So whenever people want to talk about who is the guy, people don't really know exactly what the guy does. And I'm not really the one to explain what the guy does anymore. So I'm not the guy that can explain the guy who or is the guy that was the guy, but I was the guy so I can understand the guy. So I'm here to discuss, but I don't want to discuss the guy because I don't really know the guy.
You know what's crazy? I actually followed all that.
I understood every word of what you said.
There was
Every
not a lot
word.
of words, variations, but we stood right with you. It's a one-lane highway.
And Channing, I'm not surprised that you were the one to follow. You know that
That's
meme where
the
all the
ADD
numbers and
locked in
calculations?
quick.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, there's so many things. There's so many topics. There's so many owners and so many like NBA conversations. And you commented on one. There's one story that I want to tell before, and I know you've probably communicated before. Matt Ishbia joins the league, wants to make a big splash. That reminds me of somebody else when they first bought the Dallas Mavericks. They wanted to make a big splash. They did this. Then all of a sudden, the money's being spent, the stuff is going, and then the minority owner, now that you understand that position, the minority owner is like, wait a second, what's going on with all this money? I feel like you also had an issue with the minority owner.
Yeah.
And then you told us what you took in as evidence that everything that you spent was worth it. If you want to kind of share that story.
Yeah, we had a minority owner that didn't agree with me just trying to win at the expense of everything else. And then the lawsuit came like right after we won. And you see that guy over my shoulder?
Yeah, that trophy. Yeah.
The trophy? Yeah, we just walked in with it and sent it into the judge. And that was it. It was dismissed.
Okay.
That's the story
Great.
Rich you were mentioning, but you were like,
Yeah.
when Mark comes on, he's going to explain further.
Yeah. So when we talked about Matt Ishbia and then you talked about the minority owners and that, I was like, I've heard a story of something like
Yeah,
this.
and I've actually talked to Matt about that stuff, man. Yeah, about when he first came in, we met at the All-Star game and just started chit-chatting about it all and what it's like coming from running a business, coming into the NBA and thinking, I'm successful. The things I did at my company are going to work. It worked for me then. It's going to work for me here. And there's just a bunch of people who don't know, right? The other owners. And, when I came in, it was a lot easier because there were a lot of old guys that inherited their franchises. It was just a different world. Matt came in, guns blazing, and, it didn't work. But, in our conversation, I was like, I respect the effort, respect the goal, but I'm just telling you, it's a zero-sum game. When you go all in like that, either it really works or you're upset for a long time.
So here's some random questions. I know obviously the Mavericks are your baby, were your baby, and you want a chip, but is there anything in your brain to go, maybe I go try to buy another team? Would you ever want to look around and try to restart somewhere else?
Yeah, the competitive part of me says absolutely, right? It's just like, okay, that this is the way it turned out. But I don't think there's going to be expansion the way everybody expected. And I think, who knows if franchise has come up. And actually, the funny thing is, the guy who's buying Portland, Tom Dundon, is a really good friend of mine. I mean, we've hooped together for the last 25 years. I mean, we would play pickup all the time. Lefty can shoot, goes to his left all the time, physical, about 6'1", a little bit of hops, right? I mean, we played, he's a hooper and he's going to really be into it. He's not as outgoing as I am, and he runs the NHL team that kind of way. But yeah, so, we had a real brief conversation, but I'm like, unless I can be majority owner, I'm not going to do it. And then it was like, okay, well, what if there's an expansion franchise? And what people don't realize is that when you expand, it's not just about the money coming in. There's two elements. One, like now there's 30 teams. Like when Charlotte came in 2003, I voted against it. And Jerry Colangelo and a bunch of the other owners couldn't understand. It was like $300 million franchise fee, right? Basically a little bit more than $10 million for the other 29 teams. Why are you saying no? And I'm like, Jerry, it's just a loan. right? They're giving us each, a little bit more than 10 million, but they're taking back that money as a percentage of the TV money. So now they get 1/30th, which is 3%, 3.3%. And so it's just a 30-year loan, just like a mortgage effectively. And when you do it, even if it's a $6 billion amount, whatever the 131st percentage is or 132nd percentage is for those two teams, it's just a loan, right? But to make matters worse, back then, like the salary cap would go down a lot of years. It'd be flat, up a little bit, go down, right? You guys were playing, right? It wasn't up all the time. It was, especially not like now where it's like 10% every year. And so, it was going up, it was going down a little bit, but now because it's going straight up, like if you bring in two more teams, the formula for figuring out the cap and the aprons every year, you basically take basketball related income divided by 32 instead of 30. Well, you're not bringing in much revenue from the new teams, right? It's ticket sales and local TV revenues next to nothing anymore, which means the cap is going to go down if you add two teams. So now all the current players are looking at, because that expansion has to get approved by the Players Association. So now the Players Association looks at it and says, why would we do this? More jobs, but less cap for the best players. And already with the second apron, it's a whole new calculation on who gets what. And so the Players Association, if the league brings it to them, which I don't think they will, has a chance to renegotiate some things in the CBA. So I don't think that happens at all.
That's 200 million. You divide 6 billion by 30, it's 200 million for every single owner.
And so how much less will they get from the TV deal and national revenues, right?
Yeah.
So if it goes from 200 million, just using easy numbers, to 190 million, right? That's 20 years to pay it back. It's just not worth it.